right, I think we can get started. So I'm already sharing my screen. I'm going to jump onto my Zendesk demo account. So here we are. And apologies if the data is a little bit funky. It's a demo account. So what I wanted to show you here. So first of all, welcome everyone. My name is Alicia. I'm going to be your host. Elodie is with me, the co-host. Oh, hi, Paula. And what we're going to be reviewing today is the very, very, very first steps of setting up WFM. So we're going to talk about how do we track agent activities in the platform, in Zendesk. Then I'm going to show you just a little bit on how that translates onto the actual WFM platform. What does that mean to you? We're going to review the account settings, user management page, roles and permissions, and teams as well. So again, this is my Zendesk demo account. And what I'd like to explain first is how do we track the activities for the agents. Now, let me just quickly refresh this because it was open a couple of minutes ago. But basically, this is the WFM tracker, right? So when your agents start their day, they can either click on this button that says Start Day, right? Or they can jump into a ticket and this will be triggered automatically. And this is what is going to follow your agent from beginning to end of their day in everything that they're doing. So the first activity that I'm going to explain that we track, it's going to be ticket work. So once I jump onto a ticket, I'm keeping this open so you can see how it works, but you can see that now instead of saying on track time, it's tracking the ticket that I currently have open in my screen. So it's ending in number 81. And it doesn't just record how much time I'm spending in this ticket. It also takes note of the conditions that you have, or maybe if your agent does a change, maybe an internal note to a colleague or a public reply to a customer, or if I change the status of the ticket as well, everything is going to be recorded automatically by Zendesk WFM. The second type of activity that we track, it's going to be the activities happening outside of Zendesk. So think about your breaks, your lunches. It can also be productive activities such as your meetings, coaching sessions, and so on. Those you're going to be able to map them in something that we call a general task. So once you configure those, you can see that they appear here for your agents. So this is a bit more manual, right? Ticket work is tracked automatically. For activities outside of Zendesk, the general tasks that you see here, your agent will have to open the drop-down menu and then put themselves in the state that they're going to do. When I come back from my break and I start working again in Zendesk, you will see that the system automatically kicks me out of that state and starts tracking what I'm doing in Zendesk. Third type of activity that we track, as you can see here, is untracked. So what does untracked time means? It can also, some people as well call this idle time because it's basically when your agent is not in a ticket or in a general task. So it's normal for them to have a little bit of on track time throughout their day, but they shouldn't accumulate, let's say, more than half an hour or so, because it means that they are connected, but they are not doing any ticket work and they are not on those activities outside of Zendesk. Now, quickly, I'm going to show this part here on the sidebar. There's also a WFM icon, and these will show the schedules to your agents, right? So from within here, I can see all of the activities that I have for the week. 5 minutes prior to any of these activities, I am going to get a pop-up message here that is going to tell me what is the next activity that it's going to happen. From within here as well, we can request time off. It works like a standard HR platform. You can customize the reasons for time off, so they can select that. They can say if it's a partial or a full day. You can submit the dates, and if it's partial, it will give you start time and ending time. If it's full day, it will just tell you to select the dates, and I can even message my manager and do that request for PTO. From within here as well, we have something called shift traits. What does this mean? So let's say that I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today. So tomorrow, instead of taking a sick day, I'm going to try and swap the shift that I have with another colleague. So I can upload that shift into a shift pool. So I can click on trade shift, and I will basically select the shift that I want to trade. I can select who I make it visible to, because maybe sometimes your agents already spoke to a colleague and they already want to switch it to that person. So maybe I can only make it visible to that person. So maybe it can be LOD in this case. And then I can also select the ideal return shift date and send a request. So all of these requests that are sent here are going to go to the team leads for approval. All right. Now I am going to jump onto the WFM platform. So selecting here in the product tray, you can access Workforce Management. I'm going to make a quick pause here, and Elodie, maybe let me know if there are some questions.
Yeah, so there was one question about on the Q&A asking if the agent's focus leaves the ticket but is still working on the ticket outside of the tab. The time still tracked against the ticket? And so this has been answered on the Q&A as well. So it depends where the agent is working, if it's in another ticket or out of Zendesk, but maybe you want to demo several scenarios there.
Yeah. So if I got the question correctly, you want to see, let's say I have a ticket open, and therefore Zendesk WFM is tracking that ticket. Maybe not now. Let me refresh this. And again, apologies, because this is a demo account, so sometimes it just creates data on its own. But here we go. We're tracking the ticket that I currently have open in my screen. And if I access a separate platform, but I leave this window open, it is going to continue to track time against that ticket. Now, maybe this is a good opportunity to mention that we have a URL tracker. So let's say that your agent does work on Jira.com, right? So I will have to access that URL separately from Zendesk. If you install that URL tracker, we can track how much time your agents spend on those specific URLs. So you will have to map those URLs onto a general task. Now, this is an early access feature that we have, and we're currently improving it, and it's going to be in general availability by the end of this month if everything goes correctly. But you will be able to track those activities happening outside of Zendesk that happen in different URLs. Now, if those activities are related to a ticket, then we suggest not to use it, because the time spent on those URLs are going to be mapped or attributed to a general task, which is not ticket work. So if those activities correspond to a ticket, it's better for you to just keep this window open and then go and access that specific URL, and that time it's going to be attributed then to the ticket. I'm trying to open the Q&A part.
Yes, we had another question about the lock activity button and what does that do?
Great question. So I'm going to jump onto that right now. So once you access the WFM platform, you're always going to land into this page that is called the agent activity. And we're going to explain this more in detail in the next webinar that we have. But basically, those three activities that I mentioned that we track, you can see them mapped here. Now, there may be like a couple of seconds of lag, like 30 seconds or so, but as I am doing an activity as an agent, they will be mapped here. Now, it is important to mention that your agents do not have access to this platform. This is for team leads, executives, and so on. When you hover over those blocks here, you can see what type of activity the agent performs. So you can see that you usually land on the day that you're on, and you can see information from the beginning of the day until the very end of the day. Your agents are here on the left side. And here we have a couple of filtering options. So you could filter by groups, which is Zendesk groups. Teams, it's a feature that it's only for Zendesk WFM, and I'm going to explain that in a little bit. Locations as well is basically where you build your schedules, or you could filter by all agents. So I'm not going to go too deep into this page because it will be explained in the next webinar that we're going to host. What we're going to review right now, it's going to be account settings. So in order to go to account settings, you can click on the gear icon and go to account settings. As well, we have hotkeys, so you can press Command K, and then this drop-down menu pops up, so you can type which feature you want to access to, press enter, and it will take you there. So going back into account settings, this is how the page looks like. So this is where you're going to input your company information, such as the name of the company, the full name of the main user of the tool, the email as well. And here you can select the time zone. And this is the default setting for the platform. However, your agents and your team leads are going to have this time zone picker, and they can view the data in whichever time zone they prefer. They can as well start sums for them to appear at the top, so you don't have to scroll every time and look for each one of them. Then we have the week start. So in here, you can select if your week start on a Monday or a Sunday. So when we're talking about schedules, reports, and so on, your week is going to be displayed accordingly. Moving forward, we have the tracking. So auto tracking is this tracker that I mentioned. So it's automatically tracking your agents and everything that they do inside of Zendesk. So you can choose to turn it off, but most of the time the customers prefer to have this on for obvious reasons. And this is where we have the task log. So again, this page is for default settings, so you can choose to have the task log on for everyone or to have it off. From what I'm seeing from different customers, it's better to have it off, because what this does is that your agents are allowed to log themselves in a specific activity. So let's say that maybe I was in a meeting and then I can log myself into that activity. So all of the tickets that I'm going to open while I am logged there, it's not going to track. It's not going to track the ticket. Now, we don't suggest this for most customers because a lot of agents may forget to unlock themselves of that activity, and therefore there's going to be a lot of data that it's going to be lost. Now, ideally, you can turn this on mainly for your team leads because maybe they're doing some Q&A, reviewing something, maybe they're in a meeting and so on. So you can do that at the individual level from the user management page, which I'm going to explain a little bit later. Here as well, we have the Zendesk app options. We have the timer and we have general tasks. So the timer is this. If I unselected, it's not going to show. So maybe I can demonstrate how that's going to look. And I am going to refresh here. But as you can see right now, there is no time tracking. We are still tracking the activities on the agents, but there is no the display of the numbers. And this is because some customers find that it can make some agents a little bit nervous when they have the ticking clock there. I'm going to put it back on, and then we can remove the general tasks or keep them on. So the general tasks are the tasks here that you see. So that is for the account settings page. Going to pause here, maybe see if there are some questions. I see something in the chat. For some reason, I can't click on it.
Can you click on it? Can you see? Yeah.
Yeah, now I can see it.
Okay. Are you okay, or have we lost you temporarily?
Yeah, I got a new message. I'm not sure what's going on. It said something about a presenter. And apologies, everyone. It's the first time that we're using a new platform to run this webinar. So we're testing as we're talking.
Okay. As far as I can see, all is good with your status now, so that should be okay.
Perfect. Do we have any questions at the moment?
So we've had a few questions not related to what you're demoing at the moment. So just to answer, Helen, sorry, I somehow missed your questions on the list there. We will not be demoing how to create schedule in this session. This will be demoed in a separate session. However, if you have any questions about creating your own schedule, please feel free to use the Q&A section, and we'll try our best to help you.
Thank you. Awesome. So now we're going to review the user management page. So again, you can head to the gear icon and then select user management. And this page gives you a holistic view of where your agents are allocated, right? So you can see, for example, here the list of your agents. You have their names and their emails. Here you have the role that they are assigned to, and we're going to talk about roles and permissions a little bit later. Zendesk default group, so you can see which Zendesk groups they've been added to. Teams, it's something that we're going to as well review today, but basically Teams allows you to create teams or groups only in Zendesk WFM, and it doesn't mess up with the configuration that you have in terms of groups in Zendesk. And here you can see which work streams your agents are added to, which location, which is where you build your shifts. It's where you build your schedules, and you can see to which shift they have been assigned as well. And you can see the status of the agent, whether they're active or inactive. Now, I mentioned that we can enable the task log or the auto tracking at the individual level. So let's say that you turn it off for everyone in the default settings that we just saw, and then you want to turn on the task log, maybe only for certain people or certain team leads. You can select the folks there, and here you have the auto tracking and the task log. So you could turn it on or off from there, and it will only do it for the agents that you have selected here. As well, here you can export this information into a CSV file. Here we can search for specific agents by typing their names. And as well, you could filter. So maybe I want to filter specific teams. I could do that as well, or maybe specific, let's say, locations, which is where we build our schedules. And here we have a resync team member list. So in here, let me take a step back, and there is something that I forgot to mention in the account settings. So I'm going to open a separate tab there. Here we have the general, which is what we reviewed a couple of minutes ago, but we also have the access control. Now, by default, we pull in all of the Zendesk users that you have into Zendesk WFM, and we track them. This sync, so we read all of the users that you have in Zendesk, and we sync that information every 12 hours. Now, why I was talking about this in the user management page is because if you want that sync to happen at a different time, not every 12 hours, I can just come here and manually resync the agents into Zendesk WFM. Then here, again, back into account settings, because I forgot to mention this. So if you don't want the system to automatically pull in all of your users, we can, for example, we have an allowed list or a denied list. So to give you an example, some customers have, let's say, 500 agents, but they only want to track 200 agents. You can either add the email of those agents into the allowed list, and we are only going to be tracking those. Or instead, you can use a list of agents that you want to block. So you will add the emails here, and it will be an email, one per line, everything in lowercase, no spaces before and after. And you can choose to use either or. I'm not going to change anything there. But going back into the user management page, that will be pretty much it. Unless I forgot something, Elodie, maybe you can keep me honest here. All good? Awesome. Now I'll pause here and see if maybe there are some questions.
There is a question, which is the very last question that has been posted, and is there an agent limit to the block list? And I have to confess, I am not sure if there is an agent limit, but maybe you know. In any case, if we don't, we'll find out for you, Orlando.
My quick answer to that will be no, but we will need to confirm. I don't think I have run into any customer that the system has told them that there is a limit to it. But we can definitely double confirm and follow up afterwards.
Yes, if there is a long, long list, what we would probably suggest is to use the other list, to use the list of allowed people in that case. So we've never come across it, but yeah, let us know if you need more information there.
Awesome. So moving forward, I am going to explain Teams, which is a Zendesk WFM feature only, and you can access it by clicking on in the gear icon, organization structure, then you will scroll down and find Teams. So here you can customize and create different teams of agents, right? And it can either be to compare their productivity. This will give you an extra layer of information whenever it comes to reporting, filtering, and so on. And here, agents can be in multiple teams at the same time. And this configuration does not mess up your grouping criteria that you have in Zendesk. So in order to create a team, I will click here on add a team. You will give it a name. Maybe we can call it test. You will select a manager for that specific team. And then here you can select which agents will correspond to that team. So you can select multiple, you can select all agents. Here again, you have the same filtering options that we have across the entire platform. So you could filter by Zendesk groups, by teams, locations, or all agents. And then you will select a couple of agents and add them to that specific team, and then click add. So you can see that my new team is here. Very simple, very straightforward. As well, something that I would like to mention here is that whenever your agents do like a time off request, a shift trade request, it's going to go to the managers that have been added here to the teams. They're going to receive the notifications. I see a question. Sorry, I'm having a bit of trouble here. Are we able to pull in specific groups from Zendesk as a starting point for teams? I believe if I get your question right, so when you're assigning team members onto a team, you could filter by groups, which would be your Zendesk groups. Let me know if that answers your question. You're welcome. Okay, are there any more questions? I think we've answered them all.
Yes, there were questions about other parts of the tool. Maybe if we have some time after the demo, then we can give more information about this.
Certainly. And I think we will, because right now we reviewed Teams, so we only have one more feature to review today, which is roles and permissions. So again, gear icon, roles and permissions. So here, always by default, when you just start with Zendesk WFM, you're only going to have two roles, admin and agent. And whoever is an admin on Zendesk will be by default an admin on WFM, and whoever is an agent in Zendesk by default will be an agent into Zendesk WFM. Now we can reassign those roles after, but when you just open the account with us, this is what you're going to see. So in your list of agents, let's say, let's see, for example, yeah, here's an agent. So let's say that maybe you want to move one of the admins onto an agent. So when you see the name of the person, for example, here, Ellie, you can see that she is an admin. But when you hover over, you can click on reassign. So basically what the system is going to do, it's going to take Ellie out of the admin role and put them into the agent role. And then you will just go ahead and click save. Besides having an admin role, so the admin role has access to all of the features, which is the way that you see the platform right now. Right now, I'm an admin. People that are in the agent role, they only have access to what they have inside Zendesk WFM. So it's going to be this tracker, and it's going to be the scheduling and time of management page. Sorry, time of requests and shift trades. Now, besides those two roles, you can customize roles. So let's say that either you work with a BPO and you want to customize just a role for the manager of that BPO, or you have certain team leads and you want to customize a specific role for that team lead, then you can go ahead and click on the plus sign. And I'm going to maybe call this webinar team lead. You will add that role and it's going to appear here on the left side. And here you have the part that says permissions. So you have a list of all of the WFM features and you can toggle on which features you want that specific role to have access to. So maybe I just want forecast, schedule, and maybe I want only agent activity for this specific role. So I will toggle those features on. And then moving forward, we have scopes. So in scopes is about visibility. So this team lead role will have permission on forecast, schedule, and agent activity. But inside of those features, they're only going to have visibility to the specific teams that I select. So you can select specific teams, or maybe I only want the person to have access to their data or to the teams that the person has been added to, or to all. So for example, I'm going to select just 2 teams in this case. You can select which locations that specific role is going to have visibility over onto the features that I selected. So maybe I'm going to say all in this case, and the work streams as well. So work streams is not something that it's going to be explained in detail today, but work streams, it's basically the ticket work. And you can customize your work streams to mimic the type of ticket work that you have inside of Zendesk. So maybe here I'm going to select all of them. So again, permissions, you will toggle on the features that this specific role is going to have access to. And scopes is to which teams, locations, and work streams they have visibility over on those features that I pre-selected. And then here I will select which agents are going to have that specific role. And then I will go ahead and click save. That will be it. Let's see if maybe there are some comments, some questions.
So we had one question, which was, what is the benefit of creating teams from the manager's point of view, apart from time of requests and shift trades? And I think one while you were demoing the roles and permission feature, we gave one other benefit, which is to segment the access to the tool and the scopes as well. I don't know if you can think of any other benefits for creating team within the tool.
Definitely. So across the platform, you will find filtering systems. So here you will always have teams, right? Whenever you are pre-selecting something, like the way that we did in roles and permissions as well, here you can have your teams. Now, A good benefit to mention as well is that you can add one agent to multiple teams. So to give you a quick example, also for reporting, when we're talking about reporting, and I'm going to quickly go into reports, but when you build a report, you can select in attributes, you could select teams, and it will give you the information to that team. Now, why am I mentioning reports now? It's because, for example, some customers that, let's say, never had a WFM platform before, they want to measure productivity for the agents, but they don't know from where to start. So usually I tell them to create a team for the top performers, and you will add who the top performers are into that team. And you could create a report that it's only going to track that team, and then you have the values of that team, and you can use that as benchmark to measure the productivity of the rest of the agents. So it's an extra layer of information that you can use here in Zendesk WFM. As well,
Amazing.
in reports, you could filter only by specific teams, right? So let's say that I did build that top performer team. I will be able to select it here. Anyway, reports is not something that we're going to go into too deep today, but it's definitely an option there.
Amazing. Thank you. So let us know, Rishma, if we answered your question fully. And we have another question, which is, can we create a work stream that includes general tasks?
Can we create work streams that includes general tasks? So a couple of things. Work streams is for ticket work, and general tasks is for activities outside of Zendesk. So it's two separate things. So when we're talking about work streams, you will be creating, so to give you an example here, each work stream, it's going to have contact via type as the main condition, and then you could go a bit more granular. So to give you a little bit of background, back in the days, we only used to track the channel, whether that's email, voice, or chat. But now with work streams, you can go more granular than that. So you can not filter, but customize your work streams according to groups, tags, brands, and forms that you have in your Zendesk configuration. So we will be reading those. So a perfect example here is we decided to split in this demo account the different tiers that we have. So instead of just saying, I want to view tickets, I want to view which tickets are tier 1, which tickets are tier 2, and which tickets are tier 3. And I did that by selecting my group is either here, tier 1, 2, or 3. So what happens in the background is that when I open a ticket, Zendesk WFM reads which group that ticket was assigned to. And therefore, how does that translate to you? It will be here. So you open the ticket, Zendesk WFM reads the conditions, and then it maps it onto the corresponding work stream. And it says, oh, okay, so this ticket corresponds to tier 1. And when the person opened that ticket, you will see it mapped here. Now, when we're talking about work streams, we need to take into consideration that this is kind of like the main feature of Zendesk WFM. So when we're talking about forecasting, we will forecast at the work stream individual level. So we will tell you what the inbound volume is going to be for tier 1, for tier 2, for tier 3, separate, each one. When we're talking about schedules, the work streams it's the type of work that it's going to be assigned to your agents. When we are talking about reporting, we can report separately on tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, and so on. And then when it comes to general tasks, these are all of the activities that are happening outside of Zendesk. So it's not ticket work related. So think about productive and non-productive tasks that happen in your agent's day, but it's not ticket related. So it could be launches, meetings, training sessions, smoke break. I can see here. I hope that's not real, but UPS work. So a lot of different ones. So ideally, you map activities outside of Zendesk into a general task. And then when it comes to work streams, this is for ticket work only. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions on that.
Okay, yeah, let us know. So we had a question about roles and permissions and about the ability for admins to readjust their own permissions. And it seems that it's not working. So I just wanted to check if that person was an admin on both Zendesk and SWFM. The standard admin role cannot be edited, or it can only be renamed. This is to prevent from, accidental loss of permissions, meaning that you would change your own roles or your own permissions, your own scopes, and then you would not have access to the tool as an admin anymore. Feel free to say if you want to add anything to this, but I hope, Heileen, that answers your question.
Yeah, so you can only rename by here you see the action button. So delete is forbidden, and you can rename that admin role. From what I read in the Q&A, it says that you are locked. So in this case, I will confirm if you're an admin in the Zendesk platform as well, because you need to be first an admin in Zendesk, and by default, you will be an admin on Zendesk WFM when you just start with WFM, and then you can change those admins or those agents afterwards.
So it seems that you are, and just so we understand, by locked, do you mean that you do not have access to the tool at all? Or is it just that you cannot change your permissions? Let us know. If you cannot access the tool, maybe you have some group restrictions on your Zendesk Admin Center that may be preventing you from accessing the tool. Or if not, it's just that the admin role as such is blocked, and as Alicia mentioned, can only be renamed. And Alicia, I wanted to check with you if there was any other feature to be demoed in this in the step 1 of the WFM onboarding, or if you would be happy to just go down the questions. We have a few other questions on many different topics, so just let us know.
Yeah, no, I think for today we're done. So
Okay,
let's jump into the Q&A.
cool. So the next one is from Orlando. Is there a way for adherence to be tracked by agent statuses and not by active work on tickets? Currently, if someone is scheduled on calls and they are not on an active call, it shows them as out of adherence.
Are we talking about the agent status? Would it be the customizable agent status that comes with the omnichannel routing?
So this is my understanding as well. So the way for agent tracking to be based on agent status, and as opposed to be based on agents' actual activities. So just to give you further context, this is something that our product and engineering team are working on. This is not available at the moment, but this is in development. And to so when the specific feature will be available for early access, then an announcement will be made using the normal channel there. But yes, to answer your question, this is definitely something that our team is working on.
Thank you, Elodie.
Okay, so the next one is about combined work streams. So I don't know, Angelique, if you want to provide us with further details. The question is, are we going to talk about combined workstream? Combined workstream is an early access program. Let us know if you have a specific question about this one, but happy to talk about it if needed.
And maybe I can give a little bit of
Yeah.
context, but yeah, it is an early access feature, so you will have to request it from within the community Zendesk page. But the purpose of combined work streams is for agents that multitask. So, for example, here we have one that is chat and voice together. And you will still have to customize chat alone with the conditions that you want, add the agents that can do that type of work, the voice one as well. And then you can create a combined work stream to combine those two individual work streams into a combined one. And the purpose of it is so you can use it in the schedule. So let's say Alicia is scheduled to work all day in chats and voice. And whether she's working on chats or voice, the person is going to be in adherence. That's the main purpose of that feature.
Thank you. And we have lots and lots of questions about different topic. The next one, I'm just checking if I haven't missed anything. Okay. The next one would be about PTO and sick leave. Does PTO and sick leave count against adherence?
Great question. So when the person is on PTO, the person does not have any activity in their agent activity, so it wouldn't be counting as adherence, right? Because adherence is basically I'm scheduled to work on something, and what am I doing in real time? Am I working on that activity that I'm scheduled or not? And this is how we measure the adherence. But since your folks in this case are going to be on sick leave or PTO, then there is no adherence measurement.
Awesome, thank you. Next one is, does the agent activity display live data? If not, how many minutes the data is delayed? Great question.
So here you can see the activities that I'm doing are currently being mapped. So right now I'm in a ticket, as you can see, and I opened that ticket at 12:35 p.m. and it's been open for 8 minutes and 35 seconds. There may be a lag of like 10 to 30 seconds, but it shouldn't be more than that.
Yes, and just to add to that, it would be the same real timeness, so to speak, from other features. So not only agent activity, but also agent status, agent attendance, and the dashboard are pretty much, around 30 seconds gap.
All of the real-time monitoring pages.
All right, perfect. The next one is, how do we assign agents a location?
Great question. So if we go into the organization structure, you will find locations in there. Here we suggest to open a location per each time zone that you cover. It can also be used in different ways. So for example, sometimes customers have different BPOs and they want to customize a location per BPO. You can do that as well. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but this will be the general settings that you have for each location. And here in the part where it says shifts, this is basically where you're going to build shifts for a specific location. And once you customize a shift, let's say that I'm doing a shift that goes from Monday through Friday, starts at 8 a.m., it's an 8-hour length. I'm going to go ahead and click save without any details inside, but here is where you're going to add your agents into that specific shift that they correspond to. So then the system is going to know, okay, so Joanny, Joseph, and Major, for example, belong to that specific shift. So when you go into the scheduling page, when you run schedules, you click on generate schedules, then the system will follow what you have built here in terms of the intraday variance.
All right, thank you. Let us know if you have any other follow-up question. So once an agent is on the shift, is under a location. Does the auto tracking setting automatically starts an agent's day when they start working tickets?
Yes, it does. As soon as I will open a ticket. So there are two options. Either they have here a start day button that they can click on. So for example, some agents may arrive to their desk, open their Zendesk account, and maybe they're going to check emails. So maybe they can click on start day and then go in to check their email. So at least they have started their shift. Or if they go into Zendesk and open a ticket, then it will automatically trigger the tracker. And I'm going to change some settings here because I realized that I removed the timer. Oh, it's on, so I just need to refresh this. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Awesome. The next one is how do we assign users to a work stream?
So in the workstream page, where either you can access by organization structure or you can do Command K and type the feature. Once you have your workstream, you have assign a name to it, a color, maybe a description if you want to, but it's not mandatory. You have done the conditions. Here you have agents, and you will be able again to have different filter options, and then you can select which agents do that type of work. And assigning agents into work streams, it's mainly for schedules. So the system, let's say if you work with automated schedules, the system will know that, for example, Aiden, Dolly, Ellie, Frida, and Joanny can work on tier one.
All right, and we've covered lots of different sections on the tool
Yeah.
in this webinar. So if you don't remember where things are, remember that we have a shortcut. So it's either Control and the letter K or Command and the letter K. That creates a drop-down menu at the center of your screen, and then you can just type the feature that you're looking for, and it goes straight to there. I don't know if we lost you then. Okay, no, go, you're back. Perfect.
Just wanted to drink some water.
Perfect. Okay, so we have around 10 minutes left on this webinar, and we have two questions.
Okay.
So the first one is with regards to the agent attendance feature. So sometimes it shows agents as late, but they're online the whole time. Do agents have to click start your day for this to be accurate? So I think you've partially answered this, but I will let you elaborate on that.
Yeah, the answer is yes. So in the agent attendance page, again, you have your agents on the left side. It's a real time monitoring page. So you will land on the data you're on. So you have from what time to what time they're scheduled, the total time that they're scheduled to work on. And when the person either clicks on start day or clicks on a ticket and the tracking starts, that will be their clock-in time. And it will show here. So if they are late into either clicking on start day or opening a ticket, then it will say that they are late. And here you have the late column. So it will tell you by how many minutes that person is late. Here in the logged column, you can see from what time to what time, or if they are still on, the total time that they have been logged into the system. Are they taking any unpaid breaks? Again, here there's the late by minutes. If they're leaving early or doing overtime as well, it will show here. So this is completely related to their schedule, of course, right? They will need to have a schedule posted. So we actually know that if the person, let's say, logged in at 11:05 instead of at 11, it's like 5 minutes late. Then we have PTO information, so whether they're taking planned PTO or unplanned PTO. And lastly, we have the occupancy rate.
Okay, so we have a few more questions popping up. I'm just gonna speak to Angie's, and then we can go further. So the question is about automations for my agents to get a message when they've been on a particular task over a certain amount of time. Is there any way this message can come up with a sound or a ping? I believe it only comes up as a temporary pop-up at the top right corner of the workspace. So you're absolutely right, Angie. We do have like pop-up messages that pop up at the top right corner of the screen. With regards to them having a sound or a ping, please feel free to send this request through to through to your account team, the person that you would generally speak to if you have an AE or a CSM, and then we will log this request for you for our product and engineering team to figure out how to add this sound or this ping when the next task is due. Is there anything that you'd like to add to that, Alicia?
It sounds like a great idea. I think I will want that as well.
Yeah. So yeah, do let us know, and don't be shy. We are always open to feedback, and we appreciate your feedback. So thank you for that. The next one is from Rishma. So what happens when an agent works on a ticket that does not come under a particular work stream they're assigned? Is this marked as untracked?
That's an awesome question. And maybe let me see if I find some examples here. And I don't think so. But if there are any errors in the workstream setup, you can know how you can troubleshoot for that is by coming into the agent activity page. And whenever you see black, it means there is an error that you need to troubleshoot. So one possible error is that when you hover over, it says no workstream. So what does that mean? It means that a person opened a ticket and that ticket has conditions that has not yet been mapped onto a work stream. So that will be exactly what you're describing. So it wouldn't show as an on track time. It will show in black. And when you hover over, it will say no work stream. Then the other possible mistake, if you see black in the agent activity page, is what you're seeing right now, that you say it says multiple work streams. So social media chats have duplicated conditions, and therefore those two work streams are capturing that ticket. Now, how do you fix that? Is you can always click and open the ticket. And again, apologies, this is a demo account, so I don't think that I have the right permissions to access that ticket. But if I click on the ticket, Zendesk will open the ticket in question, and then you can review what are the conditions that the ticket has. So if it says no work stream, you probably need to check that those conditions, you need to make sure that those conditions are added to an existing work stream, or you can create a new work stream and put those conditions. So you wouldn't have that error anymore. If it says multiple work streams, then again, open the ticket, check the conditions, and then go to your workstream page. And then I will check, okay, so this work stream and chats, let me check what is the condition that is overlapping. And then you need to fix that because the idea is that one ticket should only be captured by one work stream. So only one work stream should have those conditions. Let me know if that answers your question or if you want further clarification.
Okay, so I'm conscious of the time. We have 6 minutes left and we have lots of questions. This is amazing. Thank you so much for your questions. So we're trying to answer them all. There was a quick one with, will we ever get agent leaderboard back? So the answer is yes. It's going to be called Agent Performance Board, if I recall correctly. This is on the roadmap. This is planned, if I'm not mistaken, for this quarter. So please bear with us. This is going to be awesome. The next one is about shift length. So is the length portion of setting up a shift supposed to be the length of the shift itself, or should that be where you put the end time of their shift? Okay, yeah, I
It
wasn't
should
sure.
be the length. Yeah, it should be the length of the shift.
So that's an easy one. Let us know, Aileen, if we've missed something or if that's all good. Question from Jason. Would you recommend starting basic with workstreams design and then expanding later?
That's a tough question, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
Ideally, you don't want to overcomplicate your workstream setup because it will result in a lot of management. However, we understand that a lot of customers, they really want granular information when it comes to the forecast. So ideally, you don't overcomplicate it, but you can set up the work streams from the get-go so you can start getting that granular information. But as well, you can start with the default ones. So by default, when you just start the platform, you will have chats, tickets, and voice. You could start with those, play with the platform, see how it works. And then as you start to play with other features, you will realize that workstream plays a big part on each feature. And then you're going to realize, oh, okay, so if I want forecast, not just for tickets, but I want forecast for my different tiers, then it's better to like start right away with that workstream setup. That's my personal advice, and from what I've seen from other customers as well. But I don't know, Elodie, if you want to add something to it.
No, absolutely. I've replied as well, saying that it's always best to start simple so that you can get acquainted with the tool
Mm-hmm.
and get value from the tool quickly. And then work streams can be segmented at any point anyway. So it's always best to segment further your work stream where you really have a need that cannot be fulfilled by the tool at the point in time, and then you can do it at any point anyway. So, um, you know, that's what we would recommend. We would recommend to start basic and then expand as you see fit. Okay, so we have 3 minutes. I'm seeing on the chat that the performance board have just gone public, so this is super good timing and a great thing to announce on this webinar. So, thank you for the question. Please check it out. It looks amazing. So we hope that you're going to love it as much as we do. And the leaderboard is back. What can we say? So we just had one more question about troubleshooting steps. So if you have any question about an agent activity or status that isn't appearing as it should be, or if you have doubts, please contact your Zendesk support team in the same way you would do for any of your other Zendesk product. That would be the recommended troubleshooting steps that we would share here. And I believe that is it question-wise. So when we are finishing just with 2 minutes left. So when I will leave the last words to you, Alicia.
Well, happy to see everyone. I think a lot of people joined today. It's nice to see everyone. And again, apologies if anything was clunky. First time that we're using a new platform for these webinars. And that's it. Nice cat, Elodie.
Thank you. We decided to join. Such a nice session. So thank you, everyone, for joining, and
Thank
have a
you.
great day.
Take care.